I'm at the Canon booth at NAB 2015 with John Sagard.
Yes, sir.
John, you're in charge of all things professional for this kind of thing. What have we got here?
Well, what we've got is what we've been waiting for some time. Obviously, the C300 made a huge impact in the marketplace when we introduced it in 11. It's been 3 years, and it's time for a rev. I'd say if I had any hesitation at all about my excitement about it, it's that I wish that it would be called the C400. I think calling it a C300 Mark II tends to diminish how significant the camera really is in terms of what it's done. We've made so many changes to the camera. Obviously, a 15-stop DR is what we're most proud of. Canon tends to be a very conservative company. I know that if they err, it's always on the side of conservatism. So when they tell us from Canon Inc. that it's a 15-stop camera, we believe it and we've tested it.
Yeah, because generally you're not even into publishing those specs. Early on, you didn't publish those specs for the previous Cinema EOS cameras.
Exactly.
So when they say that, you kind of think, yeah, they're quite serious.
Yeah.
So by now, most people who are watching this know the specs. They're familiar with that. What they really want to know is, how is it? How does it differ aesthetically? How does the image differ, and how does the body differ? So let's start with the body because it's here.
So obviously, because we've made that transition from a 2K camera or an HD camera to a 4K camera, as is with all high resolution cameras, we've got heat management to be concerned about. So in order to deal with that heat, we've increased the size of the camera slightly. We've got a dual fan system in it, which did increase the physical size.
It's coming out of here, right? Somewhere.
Right. So the camera is up to 7 pounds, which is a more massive camera. Part of that is due to the fans, but I would say the majority of it is due to the fact that the construction of the camera has been ramped up considerably. As the manager for the Pro Rep team around the country, one of the things that I do is go to all the rental houses around the nation, and I listened to the feedback that I got, and the biggest criticism was the handle assembly for the camera. And
it was a little bit wobbly on the C300.
A little weak. It was a break point. And also the second complaint was that it was a hardwired cable system. When the cable failed, you had a handle down, cables down. It was an expensive repair. So the engineers listened to our feedback. They gave us an extraordinarily beefy handle, and they gave us a completely interchangeable.
Well, we should just say this is actually not your handle. This is a Codec handle on this particular camera, but goes in the same place. Right. What you were talking about just here, though, the cables, you've really beefed them up.
The Hiroses are now removable.
So one thing, obviously this cable is removable, so...
Right. So obviously with all camera systems, the idea that you've got a removable cable system is just a much better design than having that hardwired to the handle from before.
And this unfortunately means you can't use the old C300 jack pack, you have to use the new one.
That's correct, that's correct. It's also important to note that we've made another evolutionary step in the camera system that should be noted, not only an incompatibility with the previous handle technology, but also we've now gone to a 14.4 volt battery system. So for the first time since 1998, we now have a new battery system. So it's not downward compatible with the older cameras. We needed the higher voltage basically to become a little bit more industry standard, and also to be able to power the...
Did you fix pricing on those batteries yet? Because that's the one thing that I don't think we've
No, I haven't seen anything yet on the pricing. We're still looking at a camera that's got a September ship date, so they're a little hesitant to start really quoting the accessory support.
But like this, it has also got a DC input, so if you are wanting to run V-Lock batteries, big batteries, right, that's an option.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
If you were to put our servo lens on, for example, you'd still need to power that from an external.
Now, I want to ask you about the servo lens. It's not on here now, but there's been an awful lot of conjecture. Does the servo lens, or does it not servo zoom and trigger with the C300 Mark II?
So the Mark II camera is going to enable autofocus and auto iris on the servo lens, but it still does not power the lens. We still need an external power supply for it. The power tap on the lens is going to go to an external power source. You certainly have full servo control over the zoom on the lens itself.
Okay, but iris, you can...
Iris and focus will be fully integrated with the Mark II.
Okay, but that's not for the current CNE, or does that work with the current CNE zooms as well?
With the 17120 EF mount.
Okay, great. So glad we got that cleared up. Other things, this grip is improved, or is it the same, the grip that you've got?
It's the same grip, using the same interface system, basically the same as the original C300.
Okay, and audio-wise, something else changed that's quite significant.
We've got a scratch track microphone in the camera. Obviously,
that's somewhere down here. Right?
Yeah, it's right up front. This is kind of hiding it a little bit. Obviously not a high fidelity audio recording solution, but it gives us a scratch track. It gives us the ability.
And you've still got your mini jack.
Yep.
But you can now simultaneously use mini jack.
Correct. And we've also not made a big noise about it, but we're producing an XLR box that will be a separate accessory that will not require you to put the monitor and all of those externals on.
Essentially makes it into a much more C100 type form factor.
Right.
Okay. Other things in terms of the codec. What codec choices have you actually got?
So it's a significant change, also by virtue of the higher bit rate of the camera. We're looking at a 410 megabit internal recording bandwidth. It's the highest of any camera on the market.
In your own brand new codec.
It's MX AVC, right? So it's still an MXF wrapper. It's the same wrapper that we've used in previous technologies, but it's now an MPEG-4 codec. So it's about twice the compression of the MPEG-2 codec that the C300 uses.
And that's not just, so people know, it's not just for the 4K, that's also for HD 2K as well.
It is, because now, you know, the spec list is one of those things that I tend to almost eschew because it becomes a little overwhelming in the numbers game. But this is obviously our first 10-bit, 12-bit camera with the ability to record internal. So with 4K, I've got 10-bit color space. I've got in 2K and HD, I've got 10 or 12-bit. So having that higher bit rate definitely requires not only using the CFast recording technology internally, but and having the higher bit rate.
And what would you say to some of the, not critics, but you know, perhaps users of C300, original C300 Online, who are saying that, you know, the post houses they work with or the broadcasters they work with are potentially going to have a hard time without MPEG? I mean, are you expecting widespread support for your codec?
You know, I think that with the almost universal adoption of ProRes as a solution, I don't think we're that concerned about it. I can tell you that one of the reasons the C300 stays in the line is because it does offer the MPEG-2 solution. So I think we're going to kind of feel it out. We knew that to be able to have the ability to record internally, we had to go to a higher compression solution.
Do you think, like Arri, perhaps you might, with their Amira, be persuaded to see the light and add MPEG to the thing? You know, I mean, they were very clear when they launched that they weren't going to put it on there.
Right,
6 months later, lo and behold, it's in the camera.
Right. I mean, we know that from the production end of things that everybody's looking for the least expensive, most efficient time solution in creating a deliverable. And I think once we universally understand that is really the key, all of the companies are going to tailor their output to the simplest, easiest to lay down solution.
Okay, now let's get to the other bit. If you are going to integrate this into high-end productions, along with F55 or Arri, Amira, Alexa, you've done, and again, you've actually recognized that and done something special this time. What have you got going on?
Well, what we've done is basically put LUTs into the camera that allow the camera to basically color match other camera systems. If I completely run an F55 neutral with no curve, I've got basically a LUT in the camera to match that look. If I'm running an Amira, I have a LUT that's designed to match the log curve and the color of that image. One of the things that we found with the C300, without really making any purposeful attempt at it, was that it became a very popular B camera.
Almost de facto B camera for the situations where you couldn't put an Alexa there physically.
Right. It was a footprint issue, also a low light issue, where we found that the C300 fit applications that the Alexa was not capable of. And the result was we were seeing that the color was very similar and that it was very easy to roll the images together. So I think given that, and given the fact that Canon very much appreciated the compliment of saying that we played nicely with Alexa, I think they made a concerted effort to allow this camera to do so to an even greater extent.
And when you say it's a LUT, I understood it's actually baked in when you record it. Is that correct?
That is correct. One of the things about Canon RAW that is sort of a struggling point in describing is that Canon, to enable the extraordinary gamma range of the camera and the low light performance of the camera, actually plays around with the information on the sensor a little bit. Although we've rated the native ISO of the sensor at 800, this is a camera that's actually capable of adjusting that on-sensor ISO. If you shoot this camera at 3200 and view the image, it's a different image than if you shoot at 800 and underexposed two stops. When we adjust that ISO, it's actually having a non-gain performance effect on that sensor. So to do that, we do have to bake some data into the image, and that's all a part of the formula.
Okay, so it begs the question to the end user, what's the difference between shooting Canon with the LUT applied and baking it in, and just shooting straight ARRI log C?
I think it's probably more a color issue than it is a gamma issue. I think what we're trying to do is more match the color look of the image. It's obviously a gamma curve that we're building into that, but I think it's more of an issue because we've designed the camera to be ACES compliant. We've got a much wider gamut than we've ever had in any other camera. So I think it's giving us, or certainly enabling us, the ability to do that.
Have you seen footage from this?
I have.
How does it look?
So this is a tough thing to do when you've got a Canon hat on. I've worked for other companies. I've been in situations where I've used and sold a variety of different cameras. If I could take my hat off for just a moment and speak candidly, it's the best image I've seen come out of anything that Canon has produced, and it's an image that I would put against any other manufacturer in the market today.
Pretty bold words.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. If people want to see this in the flesh, it's right down here in the Canon booth, NAB.
We've got six live cameras on the show floor. Again, this is a camera that is still a few months away. We're looking at probably mid-September.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate you coming down. Obviously, you want all of your viewers to know that we've got a half a dozen cameras on the show floor, all fully operational. We're showing content in the theater of some great stuff that Gail Tattersall shot with the Mark II. So definitely come on down and take a look.
Thank you.
You bet.